All right, well, this is week 4, and week 4 is that your voice, it says lesson 3, it should be lesson 4, your voice matters to the next generation. The next generation. So, as I was saying, when we think generationally about the church, we're thinking about this stacked generations that have come behind, and the younger generations, they have opinions about music for sure, but they are looking to older generations to get their guide. How's this supposed to work? And so we want to give them an example that music matters to every generation. And older singers singing inspires younger singers to also sing. This is the review. So we've done this before. This will be quick. You were created to sing. You're commanded to sing. Everyone can sing. The reason people say they can't sing is due to the 25% factor, which is that factor of 1 in 4, that 1 in 4 people were told that they can't. And so they believed them, and they decided they would stop trying. And so this class exists to encourage those who are part of the 75%, but to really encourage those who are the 1 in 4, that you can, and you need to learn. And it's not too late. In fact, some of tonight's lesson will help you with that. This is the second lesson we talked about. This is the renaming yourself. So you're going to have to think about how your voice matters to the church, that other people around you need to hear you sing, that people need to understand that you live a life that is an expression of faithfulness, and singing is part of that faithfulness. And that means you need to rename your can't to a must. So somebody told you that you can't, but you're changing that label to a must. And that's where I said, choose this day who you will follow. Are you going to follow the voice that said in your past you can't, which was not God, and instead follow the voice of God that says, I gave you a voice to sing to me. It also talks about how the church is a body of redeemed people that are called out of darkness. One of the beautiful things about people singing together is the reminder that we were all once sinners, following our own devices, our own rebellious ways, and God brought us to himself. And that includes a unity of the same message. Remember, the issue is not can you sing? The issue is, do you have a song to sing? And God's people, the redeemed people, have always had a song to sing. That's what they've always done. I'm saved, therefore I sing. But then we have to also recognize that in that unity, there's a diversity. And that diversity includes different backgrounds and different stories and different gifts and different sounds. In fact, it's actually a beautiful thing when people sing out of tune. I know you might not think that's true, but there's actually a beauty to hearing diversity of sounds, because it's representative of diversity of people and how God has brought us all together in one. We also talked about how the gospel compels us to sing. We have a song to sing because Jesus saved us. And your singing in the church matters to more than you realize. There are people who observe you who you don't even know are watching. Some young, some old, some near, some far, but they are trying to figure out who you are, and your singing or not singing says something about who you are. Maybe saying something that you intend to communicate, maybe saying something that you don't intend to communicate, but we need to sing. And then if you lost your voice 30 years ago, or 20 years ago, or 10 years ago, or 50 years ago, it may take a little time to find it, but don't give up. Keep working at it. Keep practicing. All right? That was your voice matters to the church. Then we talked about how your voice matters to your family. This was last week. And we said, you should sing in your home. Some of you do anyway. Generally on a birthday, there's some singing that goes on in a home. I think most people light a candle and sing, and nobody cares what it sounds like. It's a celebrative occasion. It's to be done. Maybe at Christmas you sing some carols, but generally people sing. But certainly for the sake of the faith, everyone should sing at home. And then I just reminded you or made you aware that this used to be a common practice in all homes. People used to always sing. That was what they did. They sang. They didn't have recorded music, and they wanted music, so they sang. They made their own music, and they figured out how to enjoy music without a recording device. In ancient Israel, one of the ways to teach the truth of Scripture to the children was through singing, and that's just as common today. In fact, I'm going to read some summaries of statistics. I decided not to bring in actual statistics because then it gets really boring really fast. But I have some AI-generated summaries of studies that show what singing does in a child's brain, what it does in an adult's brain, even what it does in an advanced adult brain, and how it makes a difference. And then as a Christian parent, or I would even add as a grandparent, or any family member that is influencing younger children, you have the same responsibility to teach children the truth of God's Word. And one of the most significant capacities to teach is to teach songs that talk about Jesus. And they're going to keep that the rest of their lives. It's a pretty amazing thing. We're going to watch movies tonight. I have 2 movies for you. They're short. Remember in class when the teacher would tell you, hey, we're going to watch a movie today, and just how excited it was. Oh, this is going to be a great day. Well, I'm just teasing you early. We're going to watch a couple movies today, so it's going to be a great day in class. Your voice matters to your family. This is the second part of last week's lesson. Singing helps us train children in the language of the Christian faith. You know, one of the most famous examples of this is the word Ebenezer. You get that hymn, "Here I raise my Ebenezer." And for the longest time, people would have not the faintest idea what that word means. But it's a great opportunity to learn what that word means, and that it is a stone of remembrance that was used in the Old Testament to kind of say, God did this special thing, and we're going to use this stone. Remember how they're always gathering stones in the Old Testament? Something happens good, and they dig some stones out of the river, and they stack them up. And then the writer, whoever's writing the time, will say, and those stones are there to this day. And it was true when he wrote it. I don't think it's true now. I don't think the stones are still there. But the idea was they were going to leave a place of remembrance. And so the song, Come Thou Fount, has that verse, "Here I raise my Ebenezer," to remind that we have these places of remembrance. And songs are that. I bet if I gave you a few minutes to talk about your favorite song or hymn, you would have a story associated with that song of something going on in your life. And that song became an Ebenezer. That song became something where you just kind of clung to that. And every time you hear that song, you think about that time in your life. And it just reminds you that God was faithful. And it's a beautiful thing. Singing the gospel prepares and changes hearts. So when we sing the truths of the gospel, we are singing the theology of the gospel. We're also singing the power of the gospel. When we sing about how Christ forgives us, we are putting seeds in hearts that one day will bear fruit. Think about the song, "I Surrender All." I sang that for many, many years, not surrendering all. But the language was there for what it meant when it was time to surrender. And I had that language. It was laying the seeds of future faith. And in some ways, it provided a power. Because I would carry that song or songs like it into my life. And when I was trying to figure out how to navigate something in my life that was challenging, it's so easy to go back to, oh, what am I going to do here? Am I going to do what Jesus says to do here? I surrender all. I surrender all. All to Jesus, I surrender. All to Him, I freely give. I'm trying to freely give this to you, Lord. It's just such a helpful thing to have the language of music. And then sing with your kids, your family in church. Okay, the next generation. Here's some of the studies I was talking about. This is really interesting stuff, and I hope you appreciate the research that's been done here. So I started by saying kids learn things much quicker than adults, no surprise there. And the things they learn stick with them. Think about kids that are being raised in bilingual or trilingual homes. They're learning multiple languages. We have some in our church that speak in multiple languages, and it's easy. Like they shift back and forth between the languages. It's a marvelous thing. I waited till high school to try to learn Spanish. And then, me llama es Scott. Yeah, something like me. Yeah, almost. All right. Barely remember that. Me llamo. You just learn so much easier when you're younger. And I actually went to AI and just said, why? Why do children learn so much faster? What do we not have as adults that we did have when we were younger? And here's what it gave me in return. Children's learning is characterized by high neural plasticity, with brains rapidly forming connections through exuberant synaptogenesis that are later pruned, allowing for efficient learning and language acquisition and skill development. Yeah, I'm going to go back and explain this. Yeah, this plasticity decreases with age. We get hard-headed, though cognitive abilities continue to develop long past childhood, with full brain development not occurring until around age 25. So the way I've seen this described is when we learn something, synapses in the brain connect. So you got these little tentacles, and when they learn something, they kind of connect over that fact, and that's how it kind of seals that information. Sometimes they connect in a messy way, but over time it kind of prunes it and trims it and gets the connection clean. So who's mama, who's daddy, how do I get food? Those things, they come early, and they get really locked in. So over time, they just keep collecting and creating these connections. So this idea of plasticity, thinking about something that's soft and malleable, the brain's really, it's soft and really teachable. And so there's a lot of connections that are made when they're young, and they can do a lot of things. Makes me wish I could go back to my first 25 years and learn a lot more than I did. Yeah, because it's just a much nicer existence today to have a little bit more information than I do. I learned a few more lessons. But as we get older, that plasticity decreases. Doesn't go away, but it decreases. So we can still learn. It is just harder. You just keep going over and over the same things. If you've ever gone back to school as an adult, you know what this is like, because you remember when you were young, you'd memorize a set of flashcards, and it was like, I watch my kids do it now in college. They devour information. It's like, okay, that's good. And I'm like, how did you do all that so quickly? Well, I just looked at it and I got it now. I memorized the same set of flashcards, and I'm working on it 3 weeks later. Still trying to get the same 25 vocabulary words. I decided 2 years ago now, that I was going to memorize the book of Colossians. I just was very inspired. I'm going to do this. And so I started working on chapter 1, and it took some time, but I finally got chapter 1. I started working on chapter 2, and I started really feeling the burn of that limited plasticity, and I kept grinding out, and so I got kind of through chapter 2, but not as well as chapter 1. And then when I got to chapter 3, my brain was like, "Yeah, we're done here. There's no more room for anything else." And so now when I go back and try to recite it, it's rusty. Like it just takes a lot more repetition to keep it active. Oh, to be young, right? To be young. But that's why kids learn things so quickly, which is why that young generation needs to hear these things now. They may not act on them now, but they'll keep them. They'll keep these things. Yep, they'll keep them longer. But there are also benefits for singing for all ages. Here's some of the things that they wanted to share with you. In fact, let me talk a little bit about why children learn the way they do and how that can be a benefit to us. One of the terms that were used in that description was a term called serve and return interactions, which were described as a meaningful back and forth interactions, expressions, and play with adults. So when children interact with adults, that actually helps them learn faster than when they learn with one another. And it builds brain architecture and promotes development. So if you're interacting with your child or your grandchild, or they're just more attentive and they're more receptive to what you're teaching, and that actually helps develop the pathways. So your instruction of a younger generation is more effective than their peers' instruction of them. That should be encouraging to you, especially when you wonder if they're listening to you at all, like they seem to only listen to their peers. Actually, your interaction is pretty compelling. And I ask about singing in particular. Okay, how much helps children to learn by singing? And the response was, while there are no universal statistics on how fast kids learn through singing, studies show it significantly enhances memory retention by an average of 58%. So it's a pretty significant increase. So they can look at their paper and just memorize facts, or you can set it to a tune and sing it, and 58% more sticks when it's set to a tune. That's why you still have songs that you sang when you were little, because it stayed there. The last thing that it told me when I was asking these questions, singing improves memory by stimulating neuroplasticity and engaging multiple brain regions, which strengthens neural pathways for learning and recall. The combination of auditory, motor, and emotional elements in singing helps embed information, leading to better retention and retrieval of memories. This comprehensive brain activation can enhance verbal fluency, executive function, and overall cognitive health. So when we're memorizing things, we're connecting these synapses this way. When you sing these things, it connects from multiple directions, the same thing. So you get more connections to that truth. Yep, sing, 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 because it sticks. It sticks. Now, here's where we get to the benefits for all ages. So none of us in here are 6 years old anymore. We were at one time, but not anymore. So what about us? Does singing help us? Yes, it does. There are 3 points here in terms of categories of improvement. The cognitive boost is the first one. Singing is a potent tool to stimulate cognitive function, offering benefits for both children and older adults. So if I could find a song to the book of Colossians, I'm more likely to remember it than just trying to memorize the words itself. There's a famous episode of Happy Days for the Happy Days generation where they set something to music, and I can't recall now what it was, but it was the first time I was confronted by this reality that singing helps you remember things, and singing will retain it. Therapeutic potential. For older individuals, music-based activities like singing can improve mental alertness and help manage cognitive decline. Part of what I'm going to show you in these videos is a pretty amazing demonstration of how this is working in adults that are advanced in age and also struggling with dementia and Alzheimer's. Because of this multiple connections, multiple pathways, there is a connection that singing is making that other things can't. Right, and then this is the last point here. Singing helps people with Alzheimer's by stimulating the preserved musical memory centers in the brain, which can improve mood, reduce anxiety and agitation, and encourage verbal and nonverbal communication. So I'll let these videos speak to that, because it's you're going to watch this happen in these adults. So the video wasn't working here from the PowerPoint, so I'm going to have to get out of the PowerPoint, but I've got it queued up here. Here's your movie. Let me maximize it here.
Disorder that robs people of their memories and often takes a toll on their caregivers. So when Alzheimer's patients can come alive, say find joy in a song, it's a win for everyone involved. Well, a grassroots organization in Cincinnati called the Giving Voice Foundation is doing just that. That, my friends, is positively Cincinnati.
In the basement of a Hyde Park church every Wednesday. These people living with dementia or Alzheimer's are remembering.
Creative connections and giving voice have just been a godsend for us. And we've been coming for a very long time.
Leanne Patrick cares for her 91-year-old mom, Lois Herwick.
Lois, do you like music?
Do you enjoy dancing? No. Like most people with Alzheimer's, Lois can't remember much of what happens day to day, but she remembers what she learned long ago.
Our childhood memories stay strong. So things like songs that we heard in church or in synagogue, or things that we heard in the preschool classroom, like "You Are My Sunshine." Sunshine.
So when a musician plays that song,
You make me happy when skies are gray.
Lois remembers it and comes alive.
Just to hear Mom engage again and be able to be herself, it's priceless.
There are people that are almost completely nonverbal that participate in this program, but start singing the songs. It really is pretty magical.
In the Creative Connections program, the people with memory problems sing, do a little exercise, and have fun. Meanwhile, their caregivers like Leanne and Mike McGreevy, who cares for his wife Laura, meet together.
The Alzheimer's journey can be very mentally and physically exhausting, and it can be lonely.
McGreevy says talking with his group, he's learned it's okay to need time away.
It's upbeat, we visit with each other, we talk about our issues. It just helped tremendously.
You don't feel alone. We share tips with each other that help each other manage situations that maybe someone's come across that we hadn't come across quite yet, which is just invaluable. You also get an hour or so free from the full-time caregiving. It's important on many levels.
Yes, this is a progressive, scary disease, but you still have the opportunity to have good moments with your family and your friends and still have fun amidst the disease process.
You're just wonderful, Mom. Just very social, happy, and this gives us an opportunity to experience that again, and it's just wonderful.
I very much enjoyed Lois, by the way. Giving Voice provides his classes for free. They have a suggested donation of $1 a class. It's a nonprofit organization based right here in Cincinnati, keeps all of its dollars and its programming local. So check them out.
Wow.
All right. That was really, really good. But I thought this one was good in a different way. So this is your second movie that I thought would be worth showing. No, I'll get this a little bit bigger.
So it's good to see everybody here today. I hope you've had a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful week.
One of the things we know is that when we bring programs into communities of colors, it's very important that the community actually lead the program, if you will.
We're going to do a vocal warm-up.
We wanted to bring them into an experience where they could actually enjoy the process and learn from the process and help us understand that this is actually the way to go.
We are one.
The first session we had was interesting. A woman, she stood up and said, "It's about time somebody's doing something for us." That says a lot.
As the folks sing, we see them light up. We see them actually engage. And we hear stories from the caregivers saying, "My mom is singing at home. My dad is doing new words."
I see self-confidence in many of them from when we first started. What I'm hearing from the caregivers with their loved ones, they see how they're more verbal. They see them singing the songs at home. Other caregivers feel the support.
The thought of the choir was first presented to us. I really kind of hesitated, but certainly I am super glad that we were willing to step out and try it, and then it's become way more than I would have thought. I think it's helping her with her memory, and that of course makes us feel good.
It brings back to memory things that occurred in my life a long time ago, and I have a lot of fun with it with my children.
It lifts the spirit, and I'm so glad that it helps my wife a lot. She can be pretty down when we leave the house, but when we get here and start singing, and especially if I lead a song, she joins in and helps me without even being asked. you know. So it's very helpful.
I feel free when I sing. I feel happy.
Singing it and then listening to others sing in the group is uplifting. We can't wait to get here for practice, and when we leave, we are feeling good. You know, it keeps us going on during the week.
And after you've been here for a while, you actually feel the therapy and you feel the memories coming back. You know, it helps you with your mind, body, and soul. It really do.
It's a family thing, you know, and they look forward to coming now. It's rain, sleet, or snow. And some of them come aching, but when they come here, it seems like the aches and the pains all go away.
Isn't it amazing? Yeah, that is just, as I have said before in this class, and I've said in other places, God uses music to hide things in a place that doesn't get taken away. And so we need to store things in that place so we can have them for later. We don't know what the future is going to bring, but we recognize that carrying these truths set to music, it secures it. And so that's, again, why the next generation needs to be sung to and sung with. So they're keeping these things together. A little quote here from a book called The Genius of Natural Childhood. Song is a special type of speech. That's my typo there. Lullabies, songs, and rhymes of every culture carry the signature melodies and inflections of a mother tongue, preparing a child's ear, voice, and brain for language. Lullabies, singing. Yeah, most mothers just naturally sing to their children. It just seems like the thing to do with a little baby, and it's an expression of affection and emotion, and it's a kind gift the Lord gave us to use. Which reminds us of Psalm 78. Where the psalmist says, I will open my mouth in a parable. I will utter dark sayings from of old, things that we have heard and known that our fathers have told us. Here, the generational transference there. We will not hide them from their children, but tell them to the coming generation. The glorious deeds of the Lord and his might and the wonders that he has done. So bringing the truths passed down from one generation, through a generation, to the next generation, and song does that. Here's the challenge. This is something that's true about our time now that wasn't true, well, we'll say 100 years ago, probably not 50 years ago. And that's that we live in a performance culture. We live in a culture that says if you're going to sing, you should do it super well. And if you can't do it super well, you shouldn't try. And that's not the case. So some thoughts here from John Bell in his book, The Singing Thing, which you've heard me quote from before. There's always been the understanding that some people sing better than others, right? That's just reality. Probably with Adam and Eve, one was a better singer than the other. Don't know which one, but one of them probably was. And then when Cain and Abel were born, one was probably more talented musically than the other. So that's just the reality of humanity. Some concerts of popular music often demonstrate the same expectation for participation that we would at a church. So how many of you have been to a concert where the audience sang with the artist? Yeah. So there are concerts that do expect that. It isn't true for every concert, and it's certainly not true for every style of music. But it is interesting to me that you can go to some concerts and everybody's singing along, and it's not great. But it is exciting. I mean, it's passionate. Everybody's happy. Everybody's happy. But there's a clear differentiation in a concert that the talent is on the stage, and the people in the audience are really supposed to be listening. But when they join in, They're the participants. So we're going to differentiate between the performer and the participants. Well, there's a few psalms that I want to point out that I think point that even the Bible expects there to be differentiation of talent, but not exclusion of participation. Psalm 13. Let me get my Bible out here. If you have yours, let's take a look at 4 psalms that are worded in ways that make it look like different people are singing. Psalm 13. When you look at the wording of Psalm 13, does it look like a group is singing here or an individual is singing? How long, O Lord, will you forget me forever? How long will you hide your face from me? How long must I take counsel in my soul and have sorrow in my heart all the day? How long shall my enemy be exalted over me? Is that a soloist or is that a group? A soloist, yeah. We know the Psalms are songs, and this looks like a solo song. So it wouldn't be wrong to sing this as a group, but the original intent of this psalm appears to be a solo. Okay, let's look at Psalm 139. Yeah, there's a section here that I'm looking for that I didn't mark. Yeah, I'm not going to be able to point out what I think I was going to show you this here, but most of this looks to be soloistic, right? It's first person. Search me, O God, know my heart. That's down in 23 and 24. A lot of I and me. But there was a section in here that I'm not finding now that was plural. Yes.
Mine has a heading for the director of music. Does that mean that it's supposed to be sung as a group with a director?
Well, so it would look that way in terms of the way the inscription was added, but that was added after the psalm was written. So, yeah, I'm sure that when it was used later it was. Let me look at, I put here that it appears to be a community song, but I'm looking for the language why I put that there. Yeah, potentially it was from the inscription, but there was a different note that I was going to make here that I didn't mark. So let me look at Psalm 136 because I know this shows it very clearly. Psalm 136 is probably the best example here of a distinction between solo and group. Give thanks to the Lord, for he is good, for his steadfast love endures forever. Give thanks to the God of gods, for his steadfast love endures forever. Give thanks to the Lord of lords, for his steadfast love endures forever. What's happening in these verses? Yeah, it's a call and response. So you've got one person singing and a group singing back. And so we gave the hard part to the soloist, the words that change, and then we gave the easier part, the part that repeats over and over and over, to the group. So the group keeps responding, for his steadfast love endures forever. All right, and then Psalm 121 is similar in that it looks like there's some language for a soloist, and there's some language.
Sorry, I don't understand. Call and response?
Yeah, call and response means one person is saying something to the group, they're calling, and then the group is responding back. So one person says something, and then the group responds. So the call and the response. I lift up my eyes to the hills. From where does my help come? My help comes from the Lord who made heaven and earth. So this is a little different, but there's a question and an answer. And then it says, he will not let your foot be moved. That sounds like it's coming from a different voice, right? So looks like there's two different parts here as well. Perhaps a solo and a group, perhaps a duet. Who knows? But there's definitely different voices here. So I think there's a distinction here in the Psalms of this idea of their performers and participants. There's a more talented choir master per se, and then there's a group responding that are just participating because that's what they're supposed to do. And then sometimes you see this in concerts where a soloist will have a call and then the group responds to something where there's two parts going back and forth. But the trend in American music is trending towards more passive listening. Some of it by style. Some musical styles are impossible to participate with. There are forms of rock music, there are forms of rap, there are forms of classical music, for that matter, that you're just there to listen to. There's no participating. And that has sort of ingrained in us the concept that music is something that you go and take in, but not engage with. So when we gather together on a Sunday morning, we're probably asking people to do something they haven't done all week long. They probably nowhere else that they've gone all week where they were told, hey, when you stand and you sing, no, why would I do that? I've not done that all week long. Now, for those of you that are churchgoers, you know that's what's coming. But for the culture at large, it's a little unusual, and so we want to encourage people to defy those tendencies and to become more participatory. But we also don't want to try to mix up performers and participants from a musical standpoint level. We are not asking a participant, well, let me say it this way, we're not requiring a participant perform at the level of performance. A participant is just that. Just join in with whatever you've got. Yeah, it's supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be engaging. It's supposed to be inspiring. You don't have to be the next winner of American Idol to sing in church. You don't have to have a recording contract to honor the Lord with your voice. And our culture has made that harder to embrace. Yes, sir. Mm-hmm.
Where there's a fight between two songs.
Okay.
And one is singing in the middle of the church, and the other is singing the Marseillaise. And everybody joins in.
Okay.
So you get the chance of solidarity.
Yes.
So they're joining in. They're not performing. They're affirming.
Yes. That's good. Well, let's do that now. Let's do some participating, not performing. I'll hand out your toys in just a minute. I'll hand out the toys in just a moment. I want to talk to you about matching pitch. So a lot of people, when they start to sing, they feel like they're being graded by how well they can match pitch. That's the part of singing that is typically the part that somebody says you can't sing because you can't match pitch. And I've gone through already in this class several times about how pitch matching works, how we hear pitches, how we interpret them, and then how we match them with another instrument. The voice is the instrument we're concerned about now. So how do we match pitch with our voices? Well, so first you're going to listen to the pitch. I'm going to sing a pitch in just a moment. I want you to just listen to it and hear it in your head. So I want you to try to respond in your head. Don't make a sound yet. So listen, hear it in your head. And then once you feel like you hear it in your head, then you're going to just hum. You're not going to do any more than that. Just hum and try to match it with humming. And then we're going to turn that hum into a louder sound, an ah. Yes? Well, there will be a difference in octave, but you'll match my pitch, where the ladies will be an octave above. Ladies' voices are higher, so you're going to have when we sing, we're going to hopefully sing the same pitch, but we're going to be separated by what's called an octave. Okay, so I'm going to sing a pitch, and you're going to hear it in your head first. So here's the pitch. For the ladies, you're hearing that in your head. In your head. Now hum. Some of you are already humming. Now you're humming it now. And now make it an ah. Yeah, this is not a beginning singing class. A lot of experience in here. Take different pitch. Hear it up here. Hear it up here. There shouldn't be sound from up here. There's nothing up here that makes sound. Hum. Good. And so as you're working on matching pitch in your car or at church or when you're hearing somebody singing, do that first. Hear it here. Hum it first, because we do a better job matching pitch when we hum than when we make a full-throated sound. And then, let it rip. All right, we won't have time for the bells tonight. I know that's sad for some of you. But we will have time for our phones. That's right, I'll pass it around. I just want to be here on the front row, a little full service treatment here. CJ can help us moving around. You mind passing those out? Thank you, Beth. Okay, I'm going to teach you 2 ways to identify pitches. Or at least 2 ways to label them. First one's going to be by numbers, because we're going to give pitches reference to what we're going to call the home pitch. And the other one's going to be a technique called solfege. Okay, thank you. All right, so you just use the phone to kind of listen to yourself. We're going to start with numbers. So I'm going to sing very similar pitches to what I was just working on. 1, 1, 2, 1. Sing that. This is call and response. I'm going to do it. You're going to sing it back. 1. Now you sing 1. Good. 1, 2, 1. Good. Now 1, 2, 3, 2, 1. Good. 1, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 1. What comes after 4? Yeah, we're going to go all the way to 5 now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Yeah, you're doing great. Now, solfege, if you've seen Sound of Music, you learned solfege in a very memorable way. What's the song? Do, a deer, a female deer, Ray, a drop of golden. Yep, see, that's how music works. Isn't it amazing? So, do, re, mi are the first 3 notes that we called 1, 2, 3. So we'll just start on do, and the hand symbol for do, if you want to use your phone and your hand for the other, whatever dominant hand is, you might want to use the dominant hand for your hand symbols. But do is a fist like this. So when we sing do, we just sing do. You together? Yeah. Okay. Re is a hand slanted up. Re. Back to do. Do. Re. And then mi is going to move up to flatten the hand. So re, mi. Mi. Re. Do. Now let's do that together. Do, re, mi, re, do. Those synapses are trying to connect up there, and they're bumping into each other like, what? Wait a minute, what was I doing? What does the hand do? What does the voice do? Kids would have already had this figured out, and they'd be wanting to know why we're moving so slowly. Okay, again with do. Do, re, mi, re, do. Now fa is a fist with a thumb down, so that's fa. So do, re, mi, fa, mi, re, do. And then so looks the hand like this, flipped up. So that's up there. Do. It's like a form of sign language, yes. do, re, mi, fa, so, fa, mi, re, do. Now, once we start connecting those different things, remember what we said with singing, how singing helps you learn because it adds auditory and a kinesthetic aspect to what you're seeing. But this adds yet another one because now we're attaching a signal to that, a movement to that, which gives you even greater awareness of where these pitches go. Now, if we had an advanced class for singing that started in 2 weeks when this one ended, we might take those symbols and go all the way up to high do and then start singing songs with our hand and our voice. But it's just kind of fascinating how quickly kids can associate those hand symbols to the point where they can hear the song just by doing the hand symbols. Because that's you're working on getting the brain. You hear it in your head. Humming it. Sing that. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there's some plastic left up there. That's right. Some of us, the plastic has been recycled already. Yeah, gone. Okay, continuing with our pitch recognition and sounds. Remember these from last week? Got our roller coasters. So this is using kind of our woo sound. We warmed up last week with some like siren sounds, woo, 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 or ghost sounds, woo, woo, or an owl, woo, woo. That's using your head voice. Good. And then we are using the roller coaster to sing these shapes. And this is developing the sense of pitch movement. And so we're starting on a low pitch, and then we're going to go up real high. We can't really go backwards, but the idea is kind of loop in our sound. So here we go. Ooh. Yeah, you guys love that one. That's good. This looks like a heart monitor. Okay. Yeah, a lot going on here, right? So we start down low. Let's go with my finger here. Ooh. And then we're off. Yeah, that's a crazy song. All right. It probably is, but I kind of like singing it low. I'm going to go down. So it probably is, but I'm going to go down. So we're going to start kind of in the middle voice. Yeah, I really do want to go down here. I don't want to turn it over and mess it up because I like what I'm getting ready to do here. So we're going to start here. So, ooh. You're so gifted. Look at that. That's remarkable. All right, this is a sharper movement. We're going to go up high and come right down in a peak. So no smooth. This will be a rough roller coaster ride right here. Yep, so here we go. Ooh. Yep, oh, that one's too fun to not do it again. Yeah, we're going to do that again. There we go again. Ooh. Yeah, that one would need a seatbelt for sure. Yeah. Okay, this one's going way down low. This is where the men get excited, or some of my altos in here who really like the low pitches. All right, so we're going to start kind of mid-range. Ooh. What's your lowest note down there? Ooh. Yeah, kind of growling out something there. Hey, better tighten the belt here. Ooh. Yeah, we probably came down too quickly there because if we had more hoops there, we wouldn't have anything left to go as we were coming down fast. That's really good. You know, the challenge with you all is that you actually hear pretty well and you sing pretty well. So the techniques that we're doing would be really challenging for some people. They're not so challenging for you. And so hopefully just the concepts of developing how to teach someone else, how to teach them how to use their voices and move their voices up and down. All right, let's sing a song together, and then we'll about have run out of time. So another thing that we did with you a couple weeks ago was moving the hands up and down the body to sing the pitches of the song. So I think we did it with La last time. I'm going to add the words because I think we can remember the words to Amazing Grace. We're good with that? Okay. Starting down low here with the knees. You don't have to stand up, but you can use your hands as well just to get a feel of where it is physically. Okay. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I am found. Was blind, but now I see. Very, very, very good. You all are teachers, so it's your job now to go to evangelize the lost and bring them into the fold. And listen, I'll reiterate something that I said and after the first lesson. Someone asked me a question about someone in the church services who doesn't sing very well. And they said, I've got someone behind me that really doesn't sound good. What should I say to them?
Nothing.
I said, you should, first of all, remember what your mom said. If you can't say anything nice, don't say anything at all. Right? So that's the first rule. The second thing is, it would be really good to go thank them for singing, encourage them. Say, you know what, I love to hear you sing. You have a song to sing, and I love to hear it. And we need to, yeah. We don't want to, maybe that isn't as good a compliment as one. I wish I had your confidence. It is, the Lord, again, gave different levels of gifting, but he intended for them all to be used. And I know he recognizes the voices of his children. And even this person that this class member was asking me about, he knows that person's voice. It's his child's voice, and he loves to hear it. And that we should not be the ones to quiet those voices, but encourage them. This is the last quote tonight. And this is a hymn we sing. So, Antonio, you have a question or comment, or just hang it? Okay. Thought you looked pretty exuberant back there. Thought you wanted to sing. This is a hymn that we sing called Jesus Shall Reign. And in the context of this lesson, it actually has greater meaning than I think we would recognize when we just sing by it. People in realms from every tongue, so every language, every type of singer, dwell on his love with sweetest song. And infant voices shall proclaim their early blessings of his name. What a sweet thought. That the youngest voices need to be trained to proclaim in their young voices the early blessings, the early in their life blessings of his name. Oh my goodness. I will not sing this song the same way, having pulled that out and recognized the beauty of that message. And I love to look around and see the little people in our congregation singing. We have a rich treasure trove of small people singing in our church. It is a precious gift. Stuff gift. All right, let's pray and we'll be done.